Michael, is his career the yardstick by which you measure your own?
No, I don't think so. It's just too obvious a comparison. You know, he's a solo artist and so am I. You know, what does that mean? No, I don't think you can do that. I just really don't believe you can measure a career off someone who started their career 10 years ago. It's just so different now.
But in terms of, let's say, the way that he's graduated from the pure pop icon, and matured into the serious songwriter, the parallels are there.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, obviously, that the bones of the thing is like where people are drawing the comparisons. But you know, if I was to be like anyone, I'd love to be like Elton John. You know, playing the piano and singing is my thing. I really feed off playing an instrument alongside singing at the same time. I think that's a real English thing. And Elton's made it that way, but you know, I just think that, you know, do we need another George Michael? I'm not sure. You know, we do need another Elton John, definitely, because his career is, you know, it's been huge all over the world for 28 years now. So, you know, certainly in the writing field, I'll be heading towards that sort of.
Which of his songs would you most like to have written?
Oh God, all of them. Probably Your Song. I think that is just so. The thing is with Elton that I think's different than George Michael is that there's never been anyone like Elton since. Never. You know, there's never been anybody who's written songs like Elton. You know, they're so. It's kind of the perfect song Elton writes, because on the first hearing you think, what a catchy song. And then you start to go into the musical side and you think, God, it's complicated. And then you read the lyrics and you go, oh my God, this means this. And it's just, it's a whole story, the whole thing is.
Because that leads me on to America and your record company out there, Clive Davis, who I mentioned a bit before. How did you feel about suddenly taking on board this sort of input from these characters? And specifically, what was your relationship with Clive throughout all that?
Clive's one hell of a guy. You know, everyone, the kind of what people talk about when they talk about him is just this god of music. And when I first went for a meeting with him, I was very fascinated. And I played him some songs that I was going to record that I thought were going to be, these are going to be huge hits. And he was going, no, I just don't see it. And that made me think. I thought, well, I want to know what he knows, because if he doesn't think that's big, there's another level for me here. There's another stage for me to learn. And if I can get that far, I've got it all. And when he first wanted to get some new producers in, I said, well, you know, I'd be really interested to see who you could come up with. And he said, well, tell me your dream. Who do you want to work with? I just said, I thought I'll throw one at him that he'll never manage to come together. I said, I'd like to work with David Foster, who is one of the biggest producers in America. I know nowadays you've got people like Puff Daddy and Babyface who are bigger, but consistently he's been in the industry for the last 20 years. And to me, he's a legend.
What favourite records of
all the Chicago records I've loved of his. And particularly the Tony Braxton stuff he did last year. And there's just a whole list of things that I wanted to connect with him. And he said, fine, next week. So I said, next week, don't you think you should even ring the guy? He goes, no way, you know, he owes me a big favour. And I thought, oh my God. He said, who else? And I was like, oh my, Diane Warren, I'd love to write a song with her. Okay, the week after. I thought, he's not even rung these people. And I just thought then, this is it, I've got to put everything on hold. Because right now, I'm 26 years old. Now's my chance to work with these guys. You know, in 10 years' time, I want to be doing what they're doing, making the stars. And I've got to just learn. While I've got people like him who can open doors for me, I've got to go and do it.
So what were the actual experiences like? Were they as much as you expected? They must have been different, because you can never predict what those individuals are going to be like, you know, until you actually meet them. So how did the reality compare with the fantasy?
For someone like David Foster, he spent like 2.5 hours making the backing track, and I thought, God, it takes me a week, this sort of thing does. But then he spent 2 days doing the vocal. To him, when people are listening to their track in their car stereo, he says, you just hear the lead vocal. That's all you hear, and that's what we've got to get right. And
is that a line-by-line thing?
No. This is what I learned. And he like made a little platform in the studio, and I stood there, and he goes, okay, you're in front of 10,000 people. And he'd never stop the tape in the middle, even if I got the lyrics wrong or anything. He just wouldn't stop. He wanted a clean take of both songs. So at about 7 o'clock that night, it was after one of the performances did, everyone, you know, that's it, we've got it. And he wouldn't touch it. He wouldn't go in for a line. It's just not the way he works. And that was unusual. I'd never done that before.
And there's Diane Warren, songwriter. What's she all about?
She was, whenever I've written with, I'm a very dominant songwriter. So if I go in with people, I usually lead the way. And it was like a, you know, 2-man running race with her. She was a dominant writer as well. And we went out for dinner on the Friday night. We were going to work Saturday and Sunday at her house. And I was sat at the meal, I said, I've got an idea for a title, My Commitment. And she went, excuse me, can I have the bill, please? We went up to her house, 25 minutes, done.
Banged it out.
Beautiful. Went shopping Saturday and Sunday, it was marvellous.